Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do not adjourn.
Honourable members, you really want to read the question? I recognize the honourable member from Cairo South. I wonder what you want to talk about.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you'd allow me to rely on my notes.
Wholly relying on your notes or partially relying on your notes?
Relative term, Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure.
Okay. You don't want to read though?
Mr. Speaker, I rise on a matter of public importance. That is, Mr. Speaker, corruption in public life. Mr. Speaker, for the first time in 2 terms, this is my 2nd term, that
Right now. Remember, I don't want to fight, may I get long good. But if you want to speak, and I mean, if you're speaking about that, then obviously you might want to speak on the behavior of certain members in the House. If you want to do that, you have to bring a substantive motion to do that. Because you have to keep in mind 38(2) that prevents you from imputing improper motives to your other members. If you want to talk about the behavior of ministers, for example.
Mr. Speaker, I never know you have psychic abilities.
So when you say corruption, proceed then, member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, this is my 2nd term as an honorable member of this House. And it is the first time I have come across a series of documents. In this specific case, they are the documents tabled by the Auditor General. Mr. Speaker, these documents specify and clearly indicate what we have known for many years. And that is, Mr. Speaker, that there are many on the other side that have committed unscrupulous
I do have psychic powers.
I didn't specify anybody,
That's
Mr.
exactly
Speaker.
what you're going to do.
The other side is
The
a relative
other
term.
side where? The other side up
It
there?
could be here, could be there, but I am pointing there.
Man, don't be cute, man.
Mr. Speaker, these unscrupulous acts have gone against the sovereignty of our nation, and that is why it is extremely important. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister himself has had the information provided before all of us. He knew the actions of the elected officials long before all of us. He knew that their names stink the road, Mr. Speaker. Stink. And yet, he allowed them to run in the last general election. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Melvin Hulse, Fish Farm River Bottom, was flipping right when he spoke about the corruption about his government. As we sit here today in this honorable house, we want to ask ourselves, what has happened to our society? Why is there a call from major sectors of our society, and there are many out there? Why is there a call at this point in time, 8 months after a general election, saying, I want my country back? That is unprecedented, Mr. Speaker. The cry is, why are there so much social issues affecting our country, Mr. Speaker? Why is crime so rampant? Why are we moving away from our ethical and moral values in this country? Why are we afraid of what George Price laid out for us when it pertains to us being a Christian democracy? Why are we ashamed as a society to defend that? The problem is, Mr. Speaker, that there is no respect for the law. And I believe, Mr. Speaker, I believe that there is no respect for law in our society because it is a reflection of the leadership of the Right Honorable Dean Oliver Barrow.
Member, really? You have... What is your urgent motion?
The most important notion in the country right now, Mr. Speaker, and that is corruption in public life. I said it when I started.
Yes, but then you have to be specific.
I am being specific.
No, the adjournment, the submissions on the adjournment, you have to raise a matter.
I am raising a matter, and I'm getting to it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to remind the people of Belize what was said by our Prime Minister, and I will quote, and this is a quote. He said, but I tell you, any UDP government that I will lead, this is Dean Barrow, you know, will never be engaged in corruption.
Member for Queen Square.
The Honorable Dean Barrow, member from Queen Square, said, but I tell you, any UDP government that I lead will never be engaged in corruption. And he dipped too. As soon as it rears its ugly head, I will personally cut it off. And I will tell you, I will sharpen a special machete. I think I need to lend him one of my machetes from my files from my farm, Mr. Speaker. I will sharpen a special machete, and he dip again, with blades on two sides so that every time it springs up right so I will chop it off. And if it means the government has to fall, then so be it. Let the consequences be damned. The people of this country deserve better, and I am determined to give them better, quote, unquote. I think the only thing that some people around him took from this, Mr. Speaker, is that the consequences of a person that stood up against the same corruption was beheaded. Mr. Speaker, the fact shows that the Prime Minister has done exactly the opposite. It is unacceptable that this same Prime Minister has himself refused to implement any type of reform when it pertains to good governance and anything that has to do to fighting of corruption in our country. He has refused to abide by the rule of law in the process. Mr. Speaker, examples of these are: the Prime Minister has failed to activate the Integrity Commission. And watch the bogus response he gave a couple of hours ago saying that have no accountant in the country.
Remember?
Yes, sir.
In India, you cannot revive in any debate something that's already been discussed, including the asking of questions.
Okay, Mr. Speaker. I will not speak about him not abiding by the Integrity Commission.
God, man. Really?
Mr. Speaker.
You really think this is impressive? It's not,
I'm not here to impress you, That's difficult.
Do we have to follow the rules that you swore to abide by? Get to your matter.
I am getting to the matter. That's why I'm giving you examples.
No, you get to your matter, member. If you can't get to the matter, we'll have to ask you to end your speech. Get to the matter.
That is what you really want, which I know.
No, if I wanted to do that, I would have done it.
Yes, we know, because you're an honorable member of the House, I've found out. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has done everything in his power to block the restructuring of the Public Accounts Committee. This committee, Mr. Speaker, was a committee that I proposed to restructure with a motion in this House. It was ridiculed by the Honorable Dean Oliver Barrow, the member from Queen Square. It was ridiculed even though the social partners, the churches, the union, the business community, everybody agreed that it was something that was necessary for us to fight corruption in this country. Mr. Speaker, it has become clear now why the Prime Minister has no interest in activating the power. Mr. Speaker, that one committee, the Public Accounts Committee, has been proven worldwide to help governments rid themselves of corruption. Mr. Speaker, at a conference that I recently attended in the Caribbean Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions, CAROSAI, said, and they repeated it over and over and over, it says, an effective PAC, an effective Public Accounts Committee, is an important determinant of economic growth and development. Studies have shown, they said, that private investment flows to those countries with the lowest levels of corruption. Mr. Speaker, we are not asking for the PAC as a reform because we just want it. We are asking for the PAC. The country is asking for the PAC. The social partners are asking for the PAC. The union just made a statement asking that we reorganize the PAC, that we restructure the PAC so that the PAC can work, Mr. Speaker, so that we can do better for our people. The world understands this, Mr. Speaker. Another example, Mr. Speaker, is the Prime Minister has refused to appoint the 13th senator. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has even passed laws to fix...
Remember, you realize that the appointment of the 13th senator has nothing to do with the Public Accounts Committee?
But I'm not talking about the Public Accounts Committee.
But you're talking about two different things.
I'm talking about many different things.
You can talk, but you can only talk about one
but
thing.
But everything falls under corruption, Mr.
No,
Speaker?
man,
of course it does.
No.
Mr. Speaker, what is your definition of corruption?
Listen to me. I'm telling you that you're not speaking on one issue on the adjournment, and you need to do
speaking
that.
on corruption in public life.
That's too broad.
You didn't say that in the beginning.
No, I mean, listen, I thought you were going to get to your point.
You can't think what I am thinking.
Listen to me. I'll give you another minute. If you continue this way, you will have to sit down and just continue your speech. Get to it, man. Go on the radio and talk 10 hours if you want, on anything you want. But in here has rules.
What's the rules?
I don't have the time to read the whole thing for you.
You have to have the time. The people pay you to listen to us. When you have the Prime Minister insulting this gentleman by name and you are giving them opportunities to do that, and I am talking about good governance. What is your problem, Mr. Speaker?
The problem is they pay me to ensure that you do your job.
They pay you to block me. That's what they pay you for.
You know what? That statement, can I get a minister to name this person, please? You're going to tell me. You're going to tell me.
It's a joke. It's a joke. You are a mercenary for that government.
Can I get a minister to name this person?
It is ridiculous that a member of the House cannot speak about good governance in this country.
Can I get a minister of government to
Thief
name this
on the
person?
Thieves. There is nothing that I have done that is illegal or against the orders of this House.
Can I get a minister to name this individual?
Anyway, thief raise their hand and they know that who.
Relax.
Let me
Can
see
I get
who
a
is the one
minister
that
to
will
name
do
this
it.
person?
Because I am speaking on good governance. Let's see who will do it.
Relax.
Let them raise